You know that feeling when someone tells you something is complicated and suddenly everything clicks into place with perfect clarity? That was me the night my girlfriend of 2 years told me about her situationship with another man. We had been living together, splitting rent 50-50, planning a future that included an engagement ring next spring. I thought love meant choosing someone every day. She thought it meant keeping her options open. The night she told me about Troy, everything I believed about us shattered. But here is the thing about complications. Sometimes the simplest solution is the one staring you right in the face. Before I tell you how I turned her complicated mess into the simplest decision of my life, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you have ever had to walk away from someone who could not choose you. And subscribe because you will want to hear what happened when she came back from her girls' trip to find all her belongings neatly packed. Now let me take you back to where this all started. I met Danielle at a coffee shop in downtown Portland 2 years before all this happened. She was ordering some elaborate drink with extra foam and oat milk, and I made a joke about how my simple black coffee felt intimidated. She laughed, and that was it. We started talking about everything and nothing. Turns out we both loved hiking, hated the same reality TV shows, and believed pineapple on pizza was a crime against humanity. Those first few months were perfect in that effortless way new relationships feel. We took spontaneous road trips down the Oregon coast, stayed up late cooking elaborate meals we found on random cooking blogs, and spent entire Sundays having movie marathons in our pajamas. After about a year, it made sense to move in together. We found this small apartment near Hawthorne, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Split the rent right down the middle, decorated it together, even adopted a plant we named Gerald that somehow we both managed to keep alive. I worked as a software developer for a tech company downtown, spent my days writing code and debugging systems. Danielle worked as a marketing coordinator for a local agency, always coming home with stories about difficult clients and creative campaigns. Our routine was comfortable. Morning coffee together before work, him sipping his black coffee while she made her complicated concoctions. Weekend trips to the farmer's market. Thursday nights were our cooking experiment nights where we would try recipes neither of us had made before. We talked about the future like it was a sure thing. Maybe getting engaged next spring. She loved the idea of a small wedding somewhere in Bend, surrounded by pine trees and mountains. I could see it all so clearly. The life we were building felt solid, real, permanent. Looking back now, I realize I was so focused on the future we were planning that I missed the cracks forming in our present. About 3 months before everything fell apart, Danielle mentioned a guy named Troy. It was casual, just dropped into conversation over dinner one night. An old friend from college who had just moved back to Portland. She wanted to grab coffee with him to catch up, see how he was doing. I did not think anything of it. Why would I? People have friends. People reconnect. I trusted her completely. But then Troy's name started appearing more frequently. Not every day, but enough that I noticed. She would mention something funny he said, or tell me about his new business venture, or mention that he had invited us to his housewarming party. Always us, never just her. So I pushed down that small, uncomfortable feeling in my gut. Then I started noticing her phone lighting up more in the evenings. She would glance at it and smile, this small, private smile that did not include me. One night while we were watching a show together, I casually asked how Troy was doing. Her response caught me off guard. She got defensive immediately. Why was I asking? He was just a friend. Was I being insecure? That word insecure, it stung. I had never considered myself a jealous person. I had never felt the need to question her friendships before. So I dropped it. Told myself I was overthinking things. Told myself trust was important, but the uncomfortable feeling would not go away. It lived in my chest like a stone, small but persistent. Danielle started going out more. Girls' night became a twice-weekly thing instead of occasional. She would come home later than expected, and sometimes I swear I could smell cologne on her jacket that was not mine. I hated myself for noticing, hated that I was becoming the person who paid attention to these details. One night I could not sleep. It was 2 a.m, and I was staring at the ceiling, listening to Danielle breathe softly beside me. Her phone was charging on the nightstand screen down like always. I had never looked through her phone before, never felt the need. But that night, something in me broke. I reached over, hands shaking slightly, and turned it over. The screen lit up with notifications. Messages from Troy. I did not open them, just read what I could see on the lock screen. Inside jokes I did not understand. Late-night conversations I did not know were happening. One message said they were planning lunch the next day. I had no idea. I put the phone back down, heart hammering in my chest so loud I was sure it would wake her. It did not. The next morning over coffee I brought it up as gently as I could. "Hey, I noticed you and Troy text a lot. Is everything okay?" I tried to keep my voice casual, non-accusatory. She rolled her eyes like I was being ridiculous, said I was being paranoid. Then she turned it around on me. "After 2 years you still do not trust me. That is sad, Carter." She made me feel like I was the problem, like my concern was a character flaw. So I apologized. Even though every instinct told me not to, I apologized and dropped the subject. The uncomfortable feeling in my chest grew heavier. 2 weeks later, Danielle came home from work with news. She was going on a girls' trip to Seattle for 4 days. Her college friends, Jen, Alyssa, and Kim, had rented an Airbnb. They were going to explore the city, have a spa day, go wine tasting. It sounded fun and normal and exactly like something she would do. I asked who all was going, and she listed the 3 names without hesitation. Something in my gut twisted anyway. I could not explain it then. Just this sense that something was not right. But I smiled and told her to have a great time. What else could I do? The night before Danielle's trip, we were sitting on the couch watching some documentary neither of us were really paying attention to. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She was in the bathroom, and I glanced over out of habit. Her Apple Watch was sitting next to her phone. The notification lit up the screen. A message from Troy. "Excited for Seattle. Booked the hotel room like you asked." I read it 3 times. Hotel room. Not Airbnb. Hotel room. My blood went cold. Everything around me felt suddenly too bright, too sharp. I could hear the water running in the bathroom, could hear Danielle humming softly to herself. Normal sounds. But nothing felt normal anymore. When she came back and settled onto the couch, I kept my face neutral. I did not say anything. Not yet. I needed to think, needed to be sure, before I said words I could not take back. I excused myself to the bedroom, told her I had a work email to handle, closed the door and sat on the edge of our bed. Our bed. The one we had picked out together at that furniture store last year, debating between firm and medium firmness like it was the most important decision in the world. I pulled out my phone and opened our shared credit card account. We had gotten a joint card about 6 months ago for bills and shared expenses, made managing rent and utilities easier. I scrolled through the recent transactions. No charge for an Airbnb split. Nothing that looked like trip expenses shared among friends. But there were other things. Venmo transactions to Troy. $20 here, $35 there, $40. All labeled with casual explanations. Lunch. Coffee. Dinner. Small amounts that individually meant nothing but together painted a picture I did not want to see. I felt sick. I walked back to the living room. My hands were shaking slightly, but I kept them in my pockets. "Danielle, we need to talk." She looked up at me and her face changed. Something in my expression must have given me away. "What is wrong? You look pale." I sat down across from her, not next to her. "Is Troy going to Seattle?" The silence that followed felt like an eternity. I watched emotions flash across her face. Surprise, calculation, then something like resignation. "Who told you that?" Her voice was careful, controlled. "Does it matter?" I asked. "Just answer the question." "Okay, yes," she said finally. "He is going. But it is not what you think." "Then what is it?" I kept my voice steady, even though inside I was screaming. "Because you told me it was a girls' trip." She stood up defensive now. "It is mostly the girls. Troy is just he is going through a tough time and needed to get away too. We are all staying in the same area." "He booked a hotel room," I said. "Are you sharing it with him?" Her anger flared. "Oh my God, Carter. Did you go through my phone? That is a violation of privacy." "I saw a notification," I replied calmly, "and I checked our credit card. You have been sending him money." She was pacing now, looking for an exit from this conversation. "He is my friend. He has been struggling financially. I was helping him out." By lying to me about a trip, my voice cracked slightly on the last word. There was a long pause. She stopped pacing. When she spoke again, her voice was different, quieter but somehow worse. Look, Troy and I, it is complicated. We have history. But I am with you. Cannot you just trust that history? What kind of history? We dated briefly in college, she said, not meeting my eyes. But it ended. We are just figuring things out. Figuring things out. Those 3 words hit me like a physical blow. While you are with me, she tried to explain. It is a situationship. It does not mean anything. He is confused about his feelings, and I am helping him work through it. A situationship, I repeated. While you are in a relationship with me, she started backtracking. You are making this bigger than it is. Answer me honestly, I said. Are you still in love with him? The hesitation before she answered told me everything. I do not know, she finally said. Maybe. But I love you too. You cannot love 2 people like this, Danielle. Why not? Her frustration was building again. Why does everything have to be so black and white? Life is complicated. Relationships are complicated. Something inside me crystallized in that moment. A clarity I had not felt in months. Not mine, I said. Not anymore. What does that mean? Go on your trip, I told her. We will talk when you get back. Then I stood up and walked to the bedroom, closing the door behind me. I heard her call my name once, twice. Then I heard nothing. Danielle left for Seattle the next morning. We barely spoke. She tried to start a conversation while packing her suitcase, but I was not ready. She left around 9, closing the door softly behind her like she was trying not to disturb something already broken. I sat in the empty apartment and felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness. Just this strange, calm clarity. I picked up my phone and called my best friend, Marcus. I need help moving some stuff, I said when he answered. Be there in 20, he replied without asking questions. That is what 12 years of friendship gives you. The ability to hear what someone is not saying. Marcus showed up with coffee and listened while I explained everything. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Brother, you know what you have got to do. Yeah, I said. I do. He nodded. Then let us get started. I spent the next 3 days systematically packing Danielle's belongings, not out of anger or spite. It was methodical, almost meditative. I folded each piece of clothing, carefully organized her books by author, wrapped her picture frames in bubble wrap. Every item that belonged to her went into boxes or suitcases. Her favorite coffee mug, the one she bought on our trip to Vancouver last year. The throw blanket her mom made her. The collection of vintage postcards she kept in a shoebox. I packed it all with care. Each item I packed felt like releasing weight I did not know I was carrying. The apartment slowly transformed back into my space. Marcus came by each evening after work to help. He did not try to talk me out of it or offer relationship advice. He just helped me pack and ordered pizza and reminded me I was making the right choice. That is what real friends do. They show up. On the second day, I called the landlord. The apartment was in my name.